So, there she is. The famous Kate Walker.
Sorry, what?
Dana Rose. I knew her very well, you know. Our Dana darling. Waiting for the tram, aren't you? Well, we'd be better off speaking at the guest house. I hear there's a storm coming. Pleased to make your acquaintance, Miss Walker. Colonel Blake.
Colonel Blake or Fraulein Junta?
Connecting the dots, are we? You're a very clever young woman. But you must be eager to know why I'm here in front of you, bearing the surname of one of Her Majesty's military officers. But here's our tram. Would you be so kind? So, Miss Walker, you've been rather quiet. I would have thought you'd have some questions for me. No?
You mentioned the guest house. Are you that other guest I heard about?
Indeed, Miss Walker. It's actually Frau Wagner who told me about you. When she told me that you were looking for Dana, I knew I had to talk to you. Frau Wagner told me to call the academy, which I did, and the rector then redirected me towards the Bridge of Mists. And that's how I ended up wandering up and down it, asking about a mysterious American woman with a painting.
I read that you used your prestige as an artist to spy on the Brown Shadow for the UK before and during the war. So, what is your real name then? Junta Steinhoff or Colonel Blake?
Janice Blake is my name, Miss Walker. It's not the sort of name the Brown Shadow would have trusted, I'm sure you'll agree. So I took my mother's maiden name as an alias. Both my parents were diplomats from Austria, you see.
So you were some kind of double agent?
You make it sound more romantic than it really was, miss. But yes, I guess one could say so.
I guess you have new information about Dana for me?
I might very well indeed, Miss Walker, but what if you told me first what that little investigation of yours has dug up about Dana?
I discovered today that Dana became pregnant that summer of 37. Leon was the father, so her parents decided to hide her in a sanatorium outside town, which I assume saved her from the night of the Brown Shadow pogroms in Wagen.
You assume right, but her parents, on the other hand,
Yes, I heard they didn't make it.
Poor bastards, if you'll pardon my French.
I know Dana was very concerned about Leon being on the run after the death of that scientist, Herr Berger. I can't blame her. How could he survive through the winter, all alone in the mountains in a strange country?
How could he? That's exactly the right question, Miss Walker. That origin expedition in Baltayar. What a mess that was.
So, that's basically all I know. Can you tell me what happened to Dana after she left for the sanatorium to have her baby?
I must confess, Miss Walker, that I was afraid you might overlook some of the painful information here, which is clearly the case.
What do you mean?
Look, I think it would be best if we stay in this carriage until the very end. I know it is an odd request to make, but you really must see this for yourself.
Well,
Until then, I recommend you look outside the window. I guarantee it'll be worth your while. I'm sorry, Miss Walker, but chasing you around that bridge was more exhausting than I thought.
That's okay. I can wait.
Ah, nonsense. I know how eager you are to find out about Dana. So you go first. I'll meet you at section 08. I'll come meet you there.
Can't you just tell me what we're doing here?
I know it must seem cruel, speaking in riddles and keeping up all this mystery like a bloody fortune teller, but I promise you must see for yourself.
Okay then.
And don't forget, miss, Section O8. Find it, and I'll meet you there.
Oof. Cold as hell here. How the heck do I get myself into these situations? These ruins, they look like they're from the Middle Ages or something. There's something sinister about all this.
Have no fear, Kate Walker. The sun's setting, and you're all alone in an isolated and derelict place. Statistically speaking, it is highly improbable that you'll meet anybody, good or bad.
Thank you, Oscar, but please do me a favor. Stop trying to reassure me, would you?
As you wish, Kate Walker.
This place gives me the creeps. Looks like... Oh, jeez.
What is it, Kate Walker?
This place, it's a cemetery, Oscar. I think Dana's... I have to find Section O8 before I leave. I need to know.
Is there anything that requires my assistance?
I'm gonna need you to be my eyes, Oscar.
Will do. Just call me whenever you need directions.
A cemetery? Oh my God. Impossible to read. Section D. The inscription has faded away. Oscar?
I do the thinking, she does the walking. Fine by me. Section O. That's the one Kate Walker needs to reach.
The inscription has faded away. Section M. Illegible. Illegible. Section O. That's it. Anna Rose, 1938. Gone to a better place. Oh no. What happened?
Dana's health had deteriorated at the sanatorium. Her coughing fits, the pregnancy, and all the stress about Leon being on the run out there in Baltayar. It was just too much for her to bear. The doctors had to put her to sleep before her delivery. There were complications, and when she woke up, her parents told her the terrible news. They had already buried the baby girl.
How come the Brown Shadow didn't go after Dana? They controlled Ostertal back then, right?
Oh, they would have eventually, believe me.
And afterwards?
Dana became sterile because of the complications during childbirth. So she remained at the sanatorium a few months more. She was devastated, poor darling.
That's how she survived the pogroms.
Yes, but that didn't mean she was safe.
So what happened afterwards?
Dana lost everything. Her parents, her baby, Leon. I think she would have just given up if I hadn't been there that day. But I had to go to London. Back then, I used to get invited every year or so to all kinds of artistic events. I could then make out my report to the British Secret Service without arousing the Brown Shadow's suspicion. So I took Dana with me to save her from them. Dana stayed in London for about 6 years. I found her a flat and a position with my real employer, the Foreign Office. She had no family, no friends, and in a way she had no life. She spent every minute she had in the office fighting in her own way against those who took everything from her. She went from one promotion to another, and soon she was among those in charge of coordinating all the resistance fighter groups pertaining to the different occupied countries of Europe.
All right, Dana. Focus. The Admiralty needs us to spot the enemy units on the map according to the reports they provided. Looks like I made a mistake on the map. Looks like I made a mistake on the map. Looks like I made a mistake on... If I follow the instructions on the reports correctly, I should be able to place all the units mentioned. Looks like I made a mistake. That's it, I guess. Yunta!
Dana, darling, you can use my real name here, you know.
Sorry, but I just can't get used to it. For me, you'll always be Ginger Yunta.
Charming. I'm sure I have Lenny to thank for that, hmm? You were always too soft on that little brat.
Oh, give her a break. What are you doing here? I'm so glad to see you.
Only doing my duty, Dana darling. A gallery invited me for a conference, so I jumped at the occasion to report back to our superiors. But it might be the last time for a while, I'm afraid. It's getting very hard to leave the occupied territories, even for a famous so-called pro-brown shadow artist like me. Anyway, how have you been since my last visit?
Well, with Leon being missing and probably lying dead somewhere in Baltayar for the past 7 years, and what happened to my parents, you know how I feel. But it's all beginning to feel like a dream, Yunta. A distant dream. Especially her. And I don't want it to, I don't want her, my sweet Anna, to just fade away. I'm sorry, Yunta, but could we please change the subject?
Of course, darling.
What is it?
More work for you, actually.
Oh?
Yes. The Allies need someone for an operation with the Resistance in occupied territory, and they think it should be you. But truth be told, Dana, I'm not sure that's such a good idea.
Why not? I did volunteer for field operations. They've trained me a lot for that.
I know, Dana, but this operation will happen in Ostertal, right next to Wagen, actually.
I see.
Look, you don't need to answer me this minute. And no one would blame you if you declined the mission. We all know you don't only have happy memories of Wagen. You still have time to think it over. But before you give your final answer, they need you to identify the resistance group that will execute the operation. It's all explained here. And of course it's all top secret stuff. So you must cross-reference the documents right here in this room. You'll have to use that thing over there.
But I don't know how to use it.
I'm sure that's easy for you. You have such a clever mind, my little virtuoso. I'll see you later.
Well, let's get cracking then. I guess I must apply the right setting for the pressure to remove that safety device. From what I can understand of that thing, the pressure must be high in the left tube, but low in the right one. the most widely used Allied single-seat fighter plane. I probably owe it my life, like all of us here. The Blitz ended a few years earlier, but now the Brown Shadow is sending us a new death machine, the V2. Silly me. Can't be it. Better try something else. Silly me. Can't be it. Better try something else. Silly me. Can't be it. Better try something else. Silly me. Can't be it. Better try something else. see. Edelweiss? A coincidence. It must be a coincidence. The network leader's alias.
Oh, come here now, my pretty Edelweiss.
Don't call me that, you know I don't like it.
It's true, though. That's exactly what you are, my pretty Edelweiss.
If you keep that up, Leon Kobatis, I'll find you a nickname too.
Go on, then.
All right. Your nickname will be Highland Painter from now on. Leon! He's alive. He's alive. He's alive! I need to... Oh, good grief. But how did he... Junta! Junta!
So Leon made it from Baltayar. But how?
I have no idea, miss. All I know is that he survived for almost a year in the mountains before coming back to Ostertal to set up the Edelweiss resistance group.
Which made Dana accept the mission you told her about back then, right?
Of course, she was given extra training and was dropped near Vagan the following summer to carry it out. We'd better get going. It looks like the storm is coming.
You go first. I'll meet you at the tram station in a minute.
Of course. Take all the time you need.
A dead end. I'll have to go back. I recognize some of the names here. Pretty interesting. But I should get back to what I was doing. The Undertakers must have forgotten it. It seems so old. This place must be centuries old.
So, the bag, again.
I... What the heck?
What is it, Kate Walker?
The gates, they just closed. Oh, there must be a mechanism to open them somewhere.
There always is, Kate Walker.
Impossible to get through. I'll have to find a way to go around it. Something's missing here.
It won't work.
The Undertakers must have forgotten it. The Undertakers must store their tools in it. It needs a key. But it doesn't look that strong, though. Can you bring that pickaxe closer, Oscar?
Of course, Kate Walker.
Looks like it's compatible with a bigger mechanism.
You seem disappointed, Kate Walker.
About what?
Well, correct me if I am wrong, but the fact that Diana Rose lost her baby and became sterile disproves your hypothesis that there can be a family link between you, doesn't it?
You're not wrong, Oscar, but I'm just stupidly over-optimistic. I wish I were like you, and not controlled by stupid emotions.
Nice of you to say, I guess.
Sorry, Oscar. That didn't come out so well.
Are you all right, Miss Walker? This must have been quite a shock for you, wasn't it?
What about that mission Dana led with Leon's resistance network?
It didn't turn out well, Miss Walker. Actually, that's the reason I left London to be here.
Oh?
Yes, just a second, Miss Walker. Where did I put it? What with this blasted storm? It's all over the papers. Here, have a look for yourself.
Storm. Excavation work at Devil's Pass has been interrupted. An unexpected storm has obliged the Council to remove the bodies trapped in the ice since the Second World War and to move them to the Silberspiegel Refuge. Those frozen bodies near the refuge. I heard about them just yesterday. Do you mean...
There has been no formal identification yet, Miss Walker.
But it's plausible that...
That Leon, at least, is among those bodies, yes.
What happened to Leon?
According to the testimonies I've obtained, Leon was killed on that mission the Foreign Office tasked Dana to lead. An avalanche, apparently. I am one of the few people still alive to be able to identify him, which is why I'm here. If it weren't for this bloody storm, it would have been done today.
What about the other bodies?
According to the medical examiner's office, in all, 3 bodies have been extracted from the ice. The one presumed to be Leon, and 2 others, a man and a woman not yet identified.
Do you think Dana could be among the bodies?
I suppose it would be logical. It would explain why I never saw or heard of her again after the mission. Yet, according to some witnesses, Dana survived the war and indeed helped resistance fighters from Wagen until the liberation. But if those testimonies were true, then Dana vanished after the war.
I see.
Try to stay positive, Miss Walker. Only a visual identification will allow us to be certain. We can go as soon as this storm's over, probably tomorrow or the day after.
Right.
Miss Walker, we've arrived. But you're not coming, are you? Well, Miss Walker, you might not be related to Dana, but you bloody well certainly remind me of her.
Instead of waiting for the storm to pass and for the official identification of the bodies, I might add, that were trapped in the ice for 6 decades, you, and by extension me, are going to climb up the mountain so you can identify them yourself.
I know, Oscar, I know. But I've just got to be sure. Because if one of those bodies turns out to be Dana,
We'll have no more trains to chase?
despite the storm. I don't think it's cold enough for fuel to freeze, but maybe someone should store it inside, just in case. No one here? It's not that late. I'd have thought Demoiselle Lenny would still be up.
I believe that old people retire early, don't they?
A photo of Leon on a ship. Must have been taken during his return from Baltayar. But I still can't figure out how he survived the winter while he was on the run over there. Lenny also had that newspaper clipping about Lee. Another one of those cigars. Demoiselle Lenny had tea with someone. Maybe with that alpinist guy. There's something truly odd going on with Demoiselle Lenny. I really ought to have a little chat with her. But before, the bodies. They're all that count right now. Too small for a door. Look, Oscar! A distant cousin.
What are you talking about, Kate Walker? And why are you laughing?
I was hoping to find Demoiselle Lenny here. I was hoping to find Demoiselle Lenny here. No time to explore the refuge again. I need to find the frozen bodies. Lenny's left her lookout post. Hardly surprising with this blizzard. What's this?
Oh, it's the frozen bodies from the Devil's Pass. The forensic team had to bring them up here because of the blizzard. But their generator shut off. I'm concerned it could damage the bodies.
Where's Demoiselle Lenny?
Oh, in her room, resting. She collapsed right after the forensic team left for Wagen.
Jeez, what happened?
I'm pretty sure it has to do with the bodies. I mean, she was staring down in that direction for, well, all the time. And then, when they brought them up from the Devil's Pass, it was like she had seen a ghost or something. It was almost as if...
As if she knew the departed.
What?
Is someone taking care of her?
Oh yes, don't worry. She's with that hermit who brings her wood and provisions sometimes.
Okay, in that case, you go back inside. I'll take care of the generator.
Are you sure?
Positive, just go. Go on! I need to check something in the tent anyway. nothing. Speak to me, Oscar!
This button must have turned on the generator, Kate Walker. But you still need to use the starter.
Okay! Thanks, Oscar! The gas tank's empty. I better find some fuel so I can turn on the generator.
Didn't you come across a jerry can earlier? Better go check it out.
Yes! Thanks, Oscar! I don't think so. Biscuits. Wonder how long they've been there. Must be to crank up the generator. Forensics Institute of Vagen. That's not Dana in this body bag. an unidentified blonde woman in her 40s. That can't be Dana. Leon. It's as if he died yesterday. Like in those stories where people are found perfectly preserved in ice for decades after being carried away by an avalanche. Hard to believe he's been dead for over 60 years. That's quite amazing. And grim at the same time. Leon. It's as if he died yesterday. Like in those stories where people are found perfectly preserved in ice for decades after being carried away by an avalanche. Hard to believe he's been dead for over 60 years. That's quite amazing. And grim at the same time. That's it, Oscar. Dana's body is not among those found with Leon's. What a relief.
Now that that's cleared up, Kate Walker, maybe we should take shelter within somewhat more solid premises.
Looks like the rescuers left in a hurry after they moved the bodies here. Must have been surprised by the blizzard.
That bloody storm.
They must have carried Demoiselle Lenny to her room after she collapsed. They must have carried Demoiselle Lenny to her room after she collapsed. Looks like I can change its shape. Hello? Sir?
Are you sure you want to follow that individual, Kate Walker?
I don't think he looked threatening, rather the Sir? Are you there? What have we got here? this portrait, it looks like Leon. The style reminds me of that other portrait of him that he described in his letter from Baltayar. The one made by the...
Dana.
The Go-Rune.
No, not Dana. She's old, like me.
I'm Kate. Kate Walker.
Kate Walker.
Yes. And you're the one that Leon saved during the Origin expedition a long time ago, aren't you?
Yes.
The Goran from Baltayar. Well, you've come a long way, Mr.
Ludwig. Ludwig Hardtack.
Well, Mr. Ludwig, if you don't mind my asking, what happened when you and Leon returned to Ostertal to join the resistance fighters? And how did you meet Dana?
Leon. My brother.
These drawings, they're moments from your life, aren't they? Is that when you met Dana?
No.
Looks like a river. And that little figure looks wounded. Is that you when you met Leon and the scientist from the Origin expedition?
Yes.
That person in the middle of the others was in the other paintings. That's Leon, isn't it?
Yes. Leon.
That group. Is it your tribe, Mr. Ludwig?
Yeah.
So you all live together in a cave in Baltayar? Right. So you and your tribe took Leon in after the death of Reinhard Berger in 1937. That's how he was able to survive the winter in the mountains. Then you went with Leon when he decided to return to Vagen to join the resistance fighters?
Mm-hmm.
These combat scenes, are they of the liberation of Vagen?
Before. During resistance.
The blonde girl with you and Leon can't be Lenny, right?
Yes. Lenny, my sister.
I knew Lenny was a resistance fighter, but she never told me she fought alongside Leon, let alone you. She even went as far as saying that she never saw Leon again after 1937, when they all met at the refuge with Dana. Why would she hide something so important?
Time to check on Lenny. Come, Kate Walker.
This sketchbook. I think it was Leon's. Detonating wire, just like in the old movies. This symbol looks like a warning. Some kind of map. Looks like the Devil Pass to me. Could all those marks indicate where the Gorons searched for Leon's body? These must be plans for secret operations. Must have been some kind of a headquarters here. Maybe for local resistance fighters such as Leon and his group. Weapons. Must have been here since the war, I guess. So much happened to the Gorun since Leon found him in Baltayar. What a life he had. But there are still so many gray areas. I need to learn more from Demoiselle Lenny now.
Ah, Fräulein. I knew you would be back eventually. Judging by your face, you and Ludwig already met.
We have. And it raised a lot of questions about you. About what you said to me the first time we met, and about what you didn't say.
Of course. You can run from your past, but never truly escape it. Huh? But you already know that. Don't you, Fräulein?
You've been lying by omission all along, Demoiselle Lenny. About Leon's death, about fighting in the resistance with him, about about Mr. Ludwig, and I want to know why.
Because it would have only begged questions. Questions which lead to events that I've never spoken about to anyone. Not even to you, dear Ludwig.
Lenny.
Still, I suppose it doesn't matter now. Perhaps it's time I confess my crime.
What are you talking about?
It was the best years of my life. Joining the resistance, unlike my coward of a father, and fighting alongside Leon after he miraculously got back from Baltayar with Ludwig. It gave me purpose. Leon was a terrific leader. I could feel he was finally taking me seriously, especially with Dana being missing. I knew he was still in love. After all, didn't he cross the globe to rescue her? But we all thought he arrived too late, that Dana had died with her parents during the pogroms. So I believed his mourning would eventually come to an end. And that's when Dana fell from the sky, literally.
Dana was sent by London, right? To oversee that operation led by your resistance network? The exfiltration of a civilian to Switzerland, if I recall correctly.
Indeed. But Leon never told us that Dana was involved. Maybe he was afraid to believe it himself. You should have seen them, Fräulein. It was as if they had never left each other.
Do you know if Dana ever mentioned a child?
Maybe they were planning to have one in Baltaya, who knows?
In Baltayar?
Yes, that's all they ever talked about. How they were going to live over there after the war, along with Ludwig and his tribe. But it was to be just another broken dream.
Right. I should call London now. My radio's downstairs.
Leon's drawing book.
Herr Gustav housed me here when I worked at the refuge. I have so many fond memories with Leon here. When I left for London with Junta, I never thought I'd see the place again, let alone be here again with Leon. Judging by these installations, Leon's network seems particularly well organized. Pity the same can't be said for all the resistance networks May I? Lenny and the Gorun seem close. It's nice that she's found a friend. Not that Herr Gustav lacked affection for her, but she spent too much time alone in that refuge. True brothers and sisters in arms. You can sense that the three of them stand together as one. The Gorun described Leon as his brother. They must have shared lots of adventures together since Leon saved him from the clutches of Herberger. Your drawings are beautiful.
For you, Daneros.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Ludwig. It's almost as if you were there with us that night.
Leon told me.
Did he speak about me?
All the time.
I should go now. Talk to you later, Mr. Ludwig. Oh, it looks like Leon and me in this drawing. The Gorun must have drawn it from Leon's accounts of us. If this propaganda against the resistance fighters is anything to go by, the Brown Shadow must be pretty desperate. Looks like the Gorun must be a nightmare for the Brown Shadow. He must be the super resistant I heard so much about in London. Harold Exner. A scientist with vital information for the war effort, according to the Foreign Office. His cover has recently been blown, which has led to this operation. Better not say anything during the briefing, but apparently, Exner has a reputation for being rather hot-headed. The refuge. The place where it all began between me and Leon. We'll need to cross Devil's Pass with the package in order to reach Switzerland. They say it's not the most daunting pass, but still, you need to be escorted by a professional alpinist. Switzerland. The package will be safe over there. The Allies are unable to send enough supplies to the resistance fighters for them to completely let go of their good old-fashioned methods. Shouldn't think the Brown Shadow appreciate Leon and his group throwing their own grenades at them. An arms stash. Since the departure of Herr Gustav, resistance fighters have been using this place as an outpost. Lenny!
What do you want?
It's amazing how you've grown. How have you been since last time?
Fine, I guess.
I found out that the refuge was closed down by the Brown Shadow a few years ago. Turns out your network did the best of it. But what about Herr Gustav? Is he...
Dead? No, he's not dead. Although, for me, he might just as well be.
It's quite incredible when I think of you and Leon fighting alongside someone who comes from so far away.
Yeah. After Leon saved him during the expedition in Baltayar, Mr. Ludwig's tribe took him in during the winter months. They became inseparable, like brothers. So much so that Mr. Ludwig insisted on coming back here with Leon. Now he's our most ferocious fighter, the terror of the Brown Shadow.
See you later, Lenny.
Have you called London yet?
Is everything all right, Herr Exner? You seem a little upset. If it's about your exfiltration tomorrow, I can assure you there's nothing to be worried about. Leon is the best for...
I couldn't care less about tomorrow.
So what is it then?
It's my wife, Andrea. It's like I said to your goons there. I can't leave without her.
Your wife? I'm sorry, Herr Exner, but we have no orders regarding...
I don't care about your orders. I'm not leaving without Andrea. Do you hear me? I won't. You think I'm a bastard, don't you? A selfish bastard ready to risk people's lives to recover the woman he loves. That's what you all think, isn't it?
No, I think you're afraid, that's all. Afraid for you and the woman you love. And fear doesn't usually bring out the best in people.
I take full responsibility for my actions, and I expect no pity in return. But would a little understanding be too much to ask? I mean, what would you do in my shoes? What would you do if they asked you to abandon that alpinist you seem to be so fond of for the common good, eh? Because that's what you're asking me to do with
Well, to be perfectly honest, I suppose if I were in your shoes, I would pull out all the stops to protect those who are dear to me.
I see. Thank you, Fraulein.
Well, everyone seems all right, more or less. I should get back to the radio now.
Nothing. I should turn the radio on first. Maybe Herr Gustav's homemade radio is still around here somewhere. This part of the radio is used to receive messages. Empty. Maybe Herr Gustav's homemade radio is still around here somewhere. Personal effects in a heap. Can't be a good sign. Leon's men must have settled down in the dormitories. Junta's stash. I doubt I'll find anything of use there to amplify the radio signal. Herr Gustav's old radio. I remember we spent many an evening listening to serials when I worked here that summer. doesn't fit. Looks like there's something wrong with the antenna. There must be something else I can plug into it. Once this antenna is connected, there must be a way to open it. There must be something else I can plug into it.
That should boost the signal. Perfect.
Impossible. Nothing. I should turn the radio on first. This part of the radio is used to transmit messages. This part of the radio is used to transmit messages. This part of the radio is used to receive messages. Nothing. I should turn the radio on first. This part of the radio is used to receive messages. I need to adjust the frequency settings properly to contact London. This part of the radio is used to transmit messages. This part of the radio is used to receive messages. This part of the radio is used to transmit messages. This part of the radio is used to receive messages. I need to adjust the frequency settings properly to contact London. This part of the radio is used to transmit messages. London, come in. London? Do you read me? Over. We've made contact. Package safe and sound. I repeat, we've made contact. Package...
Out of the question! I'm not moving from here without her!
London, please wait a moment. Over. What's going on?
You! Tell London I'm not leaving without my wife.
Herr Exner, listen,
No, you listen. Andrea is my closest collaborator. With regard to the Allied war effort, she is just as important as me. She is in Wagen as I speak, hiding at some friend's place under a false identity. You must bring her here and smuggle her into Switzerland with me.
There's no way we're going back to Wagen. Brown Shadow troops have overrun the entire town. We can't risk delaying our departure.
A storm coming. Danger.
I'm not moving from here without her.
London, did you hear that? Roger that. Over and out. They say we can't allow Frau Exner to be captured and risk her letting the cat out of the bag.
What are you waiting for then? Send someone to fetch her.
Hang on. You're not asking me to.
Sorry, Lenny, we haven't got a choice. Ludwig can't go about in public in Wagen, and I have to prepare everything to get them through Devil's Pass tomorrow. You're the only one I trust enough to...
Why can't she go?
I understand you're angry, Lenny, but that's not in my orders. My mission consists of protecting Herr Exner at all cost. I can't just leave him here and go off to Wagen.
Dana's right, Lenny. And besides, it's too dangerous.
Leon!
All right, then. I'll go.
Lenny, wait!
Leon's reaction and his unconditional love for Dana drove me mad with rage. So I decided to take my revenge by making a detour. It was a detour I would regret for the rest of my life.
What did you do?
I made a deal with the devil. No one was supposed to have gotten hurt, I promise. I promise, Fräulein. I just didn't want Leon to leave me forever. To leave with her. But it was a fool's bargain, as I should have known from the beginning.
Brown Shadow! But how could they have...
We must leave immediately before the mountain becomes impassable!
Go through the pass in this weather? Are you mad?
We have no choice, Lenny! It's that or fall into the hands of the Brown Shadow! And we both know what that means! We ought to stay, to buy Leon as much time as we can!
Leon,
She's right, Lenny! Now go! Go! Come! Dana!
No, don't make this harder than it is!
Dana!
I love you, Leon.
I love you too, Dana, more than anything in the world. Come on, let's go!
Ironic, isn't it? But the worst was yet to come. Who knows how long we fought? Enough for Leon to lead the civilians to the foot of Devil's Pass. Ludwig has been searching for Leon's remains since then. But it took the thaw due to global warming to uncover the bodies. And with them, my crime. Precisely when you decided to show up, Fräulein.
Lenny.
Dear Ludwig, can you ever
Mr. Ludwig, please.
Don't, Fräulein. I deserve this. Let's get this over with, Fräulein. Let me tell you about the last time I ever saw Dana, and then I'll be done.
Okay, I'm listening.
It was a year after Leon died, just after the liberation of Vagen.